So another key attribute when we look at graphs is we can decide if a graph has an absolute minimum or an absolute maximum. Okay? When we look at a linear function and we're thinking about this equation, the f of x equals 1/2 x minus 12, you'll notice that this graph, you can think of it having the arrows on the ends of this graph, and that means it's going to keep going on forever down the x-axis, and it's going to keep going down towards the negative side of the x-axis as well. So for an absolute minimum or maximum, when I think of a linear function like this one, this does not have a absolute maximum or absolute minimum, so we would say this has none. Okay. Now the other piece of it is when we look at increasing and decreasing of a function, what we need to take into account is we need to think about going down this x-axis. So I'm going from the negative side of the x-axis to the positive side. I need to look at this equation or this graph and decide, is this graph increasing as I go down the x-axis or is it decreasing? So when we look at this graph, we can see that it is definitely increasing as we go down the x-axis. So we would say that this graph is increasing. If we had a graph that was decreasing and we were looking at it, here's an example of what it would look like. Here's your x and y axis. If we had a graph that was decreasing, we would see it going something like this. So as you see, we go down the x-axis, this graph is getting smaller and smaller down the y-axis. So we would say that this one is decreasing. So this is an example of that for you.